Yo, drop a like in the next 5 seconds for 72 hours of good luck. I think you should drop a like. All right, what is going? What's happening? How's everybody doing today? My name is Chuck, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we are back here again on some Modern Warfare because, you know, a lot of people don't have Black Ops Cold War yet, and I wanted to bring in one of my series that you guys really like on Modern Warfare since I haven't made one of these videos on this game in a minute. My top 5 most overpowered classes for you guys to use here in all of this game. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys are going to enjoy today's video. If you guys think you're going to, slap a like on this thing, subscribe, those notifications turn on. Make sure you guys comment down in the comment section below. And with that being said, let's actually go jump into this. Man, it feels a little bit weird actually going through the gunsmith here on, you know, Modern Warfare as opposed to Cold War. It's just such a different interface and everything. But let's jump into this. So we have the M4A1 first up here. We're gonna be going through and just give you guys the most overpowered guns in the entire game, the class setups for them. I mean, it's just gonna be a lot of fun. So first thing is first, here we have to jump into the muzzle category, and we're gonna go straight down here to the monolithic suppressor. And the reason we're gonna use the monolithic suppressor is because it is indeed the best suppressor in the entire game. That sound suppression, that damage range is absolutely incredible on there, and I'd suggest that if you don't have the mono, use something like the tactical. But when you do happen to have the monolithic, you're going to want to throw this on here. It's going to be fantastic. You guys should 100% should actually throw on the mono on this thing. I mean, it's just the best suppressor in the entire game, really, unless you're using like the Odin, in which case you can use something like the colossal suppressor, because that's technically better than the monolithic. But you guys get what I'm saying. Use the mono. You're going to thank me later. Next up here, we're going to be in the barrel section. So we have a few different options here. We can use the commando, the grenadier barrel, the tac light, the Corvus custom marksman, and the 12.4 predator. Basically, you guys should never use the predator, the tac light, or the commando. I don't find those barrels any bit beneficial. You can basically choose between the grenadier barrel or the Corvus custom marksman. But for this build in particular, we're going to be using the Corvus custom marksman because I love this thing. And in multiplayer, this thing is absolutely incredible. So using, you know, the Corvus custom marksman, that damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, it's going to be fantastic. You guys are really going to like this. So I would highly recommend using the Corvus custom marksman barrel on this gun. It is phenomenal, and you're going to really like it. Next up in here in the underbarrel section, we really don't got to keep this too crazy. We just got to keep this, well, honestly, we just got to keep this very simple. And what we're going to do with this here is we're actually going to go and throw in the commando foregrip because you don't need anything crazy on this gun. I mean, you don't need anything like, you know, the Ranger, unless you're playing like some Warzone or something like that. And you really just want to have a little bit more benefit to your, you know, vertical recoil control, and, you know, just for that recoil control for longer range combat. But honestly, in multiplayer, you're never going to really need that. So we're just going to say that you're going to use the commando foregrip on this thing. It's going to be great. You're gonna thank me later. Throw this on here. Fantastic attachment on basically a variety of guns. I love using this thing. Next up, we're gonna be here in the laser section of things, and I really want to throw in a laser because you know, frankly, I just really like how these things pan out. The only downside is that sometimes people can see you and they really take notice of your laser. So if you're, you know, pre-aiming a doorway or something like that, and somebody's sitting there, they probably will be able to see you. Just a forewarning. But so we have the 1MW laser, the 5MW, and the tac laser. And what I actually really like using is the tac laser on this gun because that aim down sight speed, that aiming stability and aim walking steadiness, it's fantastic. But if you feel like you're gonna rush around a little bit more, having that hip fire accuracy and that sprint to fire speed can actually be really beneficial as well. So you just gotta kind of have to swap between the two and see if it really works best for you. Honestly, I love the tac laser. This thing is great, and I would suggest using the tac laser. I mean, it's gonna really make your gun an absolute laser beam. If you have trouble controlling recoil, this thing is gonna be literally a laser beam. You should not have any trouble hitting your shots at all. And last but definitely not least, we're gonna be in the ammunition category of things, and that's because we have a few options to choose from: the 50, the 60, the Power 32, and the SOCROM. I always say stay away from the bottom two here. They're just really not beneficial in any way, shape, or form. And then it comes down to some personal preference here, 50 or 60. I'm a 60 round magazine kind of guy, so I'm gonna go to the 60 round magazine on this gun. This is gonna be my choice. This is gonna be my final attachment for the M4A1. This is gonna be a bomb class setup. You guys are really gonna like this. Hopefully you can go out and dominate some multiplayer. I was using this a lot on some shipment when I was using the M4. Dude, it slaps. Really, it just does. All right, so now we're in here for the MP5. Of course, gotta give you guys an MP5 class setup if I haven't been making one of these here in a while. So let's jump into this, the muzzle category. I mean, we could definitely swap back between, you know, going for an integrated monolithic suppressor, a monolithic suppressor on the muzzle. And honestly, it comes down to kind of like what feels the best for you, and what feels the best for me is actually using the monolithic suppressor on the end of a gun. I just like the way it actually looks on the MP5. I feel like the iron sights, I'm more accurate with them. I don't really know how to explain it. It just happens to work really well for me. But I would say that, you know, this build's not going to make much of a difference if you choose the mono or you choose the integrated mono. So just kind of use whatever is going to be the best for you personally. It just kind of comes down to what you feel best with. Honestly, that's really what it comes down to. So I'm going to use the mono on here, and this is going to be my first attachment on the MP5. Next up in here, we're on the underbarrel section, and we have to, you know, just make sure that we can actually, you know, hit our shots, get that, you know, that hip fire accuracy, you know, control our recoil. And so we're not going to be using the commando foregrip, but we're actually going to go down here and use the Merc foregrip. What I've actually found is actually pretty useful, as well as using the Ranger foregrip. And then I did actually experiment a little bit with the operator, but I should still say that I think the Merc foregrip is is indeed going to be the best. So I would suggest running the Merc over all these other ones. This is like tried and true what the pro players used to run. So yeah, throw this on there. In the ammunition category of things, we have a couple of options here. So we have the 45 round and then the auto 30 round magazine. What I would suggest to you guys is running the 45 round magazine on here. Just it seems to be the best for public matches. I have seen some people sweat around and use the auto 30 round mag, and they just like that. But honestly, I really like using the 45 round magazine on this thing. It's just incredible, and I found some very good success with it. So I'd recommend running the 45 on this gun. It is insane. Now we're in here in the rear grip section. So this really just, we want more mobility out of our gun here. We're not trying to go for anything like super stupid like in recoil control. We just don't really need that. So we're not going to use the rubberized here. We have the granulated, so we have the option for that. That's our aiming stability and walking steadiness. I've never really ever used the granulated on here because I don't ever feel it's necessary. But what we're actually going to go ahead and use is the stippled grip tape. The stippled is fantastic on a variety of different guns. So I would recommend using the stippled on here. This is going to be a great attachment. This could be very complimentary to the MP5, and I'd suggest to be able to use this thing, you know, as much as possible. Seriously, this is a great attachment. And last but definitely not least, we're going to be in the stock category, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom here, and we're going to use the F-TAC collapsible stock for that maximum movement speed and aim down sight speed. This is going to make your MP5 absolutely lethal. You can run this as a primary in multiplayer, and of course, you could use this exact setup as a secondary in Warzone. Seriously, it's going to be amazing no matter which way you happen to kind of spin it. This is going to be awesome. So I'd literally suggest using this. I mean, it's really great. So that's going to be my MP5 setup. This is an amazing setup for you guys to be able to use. Super mobile, super good. Y'all are gonna love this. Go try it out. All right, so now we're gonna be on to one of my other favorite SMGs in this game, the PP-19 Bison, or the Bison, the PP. You know, I love my PP. You guys get what I'm saying here. So we got to keep this very, you know, we got to keep this to be the most lethal setup possible with this gun. So let's jump into this here. First thing we're doing, of course, adding on the monolithic suppressor. We can't waste any time with that. Sound suppression, damage range, of course, the best suppressor in the entire game. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Some people have tried to debate me in my comment section, but listen, it doesn't matter. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. I mean, well, they may know a little bit what they're talking about, but they don't know enough of what they're talking about. I know more, and that's, you know, that's why I'm making all these class videos, and that's why people have success with them, because I know what I'm saying. So use the mono. It's just going to be the best thing there, so throw that on there. Now we're in the barrel section. We have a few different options in here. We have the 8.7 steel, the 8.7 polygonal, the 8.7 aluminum, or aluminum, whatever you want to call it. And honestly, we just need, you know, the most damage range, blow velocity possible. So we don't really need the polygonal. We need the 8.7 steel. This is going to be our trifecta, that 3 that we really like. So I'd suggest to be able to use this. This is my favorite barrel of the Bison. Been exclusively using this for a long time, and for good reason, because it's the best. Now on the ammunition thing, I mean, we really don't have to talk about this too much because there's really only one option. It's either you keep it with the 50 rounds stock, or you go with the 84 round helical mag. And if you're playing something like shipment or something really close quarters and you just want to never reload again, use the 84 round helical mag, because this thing is crazy. I love it. It's just one of my favorite attachments to run in like the entirety of the, you know, Modern Warfare, just because it's like, who doesn't want to have 84 rounds in a submachine gun? Like, that's ridiculous. It shouldn't be possible, but it really is. So yeah, throw on the 84 round helical mag. Next in here, the rear grip section. Of course, we want to be able to go for a little bit more mobility, so we're gonna go straight down here to the stippled grip tape, which is going to allow us to be more mobile, you know, just, you know, get some shots off quicker, which is ultimately what you want with the Bison. You want to be able to hip fire, get some of them people, you know what I'm saying? So stippled grip tape is going to be your attachment. You're going to thank me later for this one. This is the best attachment, you know, for this specific category here, the rear grip. This does not need anything else, and I mean, it's pointless. Seriously, don't use anything else. There's no reason to throw on, you know, the granulated, the rubberized. You don't need any of that. Just throw on the stippled. Just use it. And last but definitely not least, we're going to be in the stock category here. So we have the factory aluminum stock, which is our aim walking movement speed. There's a no stock, which is, you know, interesting. I really don't use it all that often. The Corvus custom skeleton stock. And then we have, you know, the FSS close quarter stock. What we're going to be using here is the Corvus skeleton stock. And this is because this gives me that aim walking movement speed and that aim down sight speed, which is going to be incredible for this gun. You guys are going to just be strafing super fast. You're going to be able to aim down sights, you know, super quickly. So it's just going to make you a really hard target to be able to hit if you can strafe back and forth. So use the Corvus skeleton stock. This is incredible. So this is my Bison setup right here. Hopefully you guys like this one. Go check it out. Go try it out in Modern Warfare multiplayer. It slaps at close to medium range. This is definitely my favorite setup to ever use on the Bison the entire year of Modern Warfare being out. This is incredible. All right, now let's actually jump in here to the Kilo 141. This is going to be an interesting setup for the Kilo that I really haven't been using a heck of a lot, but I've more or less recently found it, and that I'm actually a huge fan of. So let's jump into this. First, of first off, of course, we have to throw on the mono suppressor, sound suppression, damage range. You guys know how it is. And of course, we have this beautiful homecoming variant here, this emerald version of the Kilo, basically my favorite version of the Kilo, you know, they've ever made. And so this has a very nice looking mono suppressor. And thank God they throw in the mono on this thing, because you guys know when you don't use it, I mean, you basically lose the look of that gun, that attachment. So thank God they throw in the mono, because that's gonna be our first attachment for sure. As you guys know, what we've been putting on basically all of our guns. So now we have a few options in here in the barrel section. So we have the 16.6 SOCOM, the 19.8 Prow, the Singard Arms Whisper, and obviously this is the integrated suppressor, so we're not going to go to use that. What we're actually going to go to use is the Singard Arms 19.8 Prowler barrel, because this thing is phenomenal. And it's of course going to give us that recoil control, which is going to come in handy a little bit later in the loadout. As you guys are going to be able to see, this is going to come in very handy. So use the Singard Arms 19.8 Prowler. This is a fantastic you know, attachment, and of course it does have that beautiful emerald look to it from the homecoming variant, which is, you know, it's kind of icing on the cake that they gave us some really great attachments with this thing. So use this. Now we're going to be in here in the laser section of things, and we're going to go straight down here to the tac laser, because this is that aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and aim walking steadiness. This is going to make your gun an absolute laser beam, which is incredibly nice. And of course this is going to help out because we're not going to be running a grip on this gun, which is a little bit interesting, a little bit different. I don't really ever do that, but I haven't actually been using a grip on this gun here recently. I've been using this specific setup that I'm showing you guys, and it is indeed incredible. So we're using the tac laser here on this gun. Of course, down in the ammunition side of things, you guys can basically use really whatever you want, but I'm going to say go for the 60 round magazine, as that is my personal preference. You guys know the type of guy I am. I talk about it every single time I literally mention, you know, the ammunition. So I would suggest using the 60 round. I mean, you can definitely use the 50 if you really want to, but you know, 60 is going to be my personal preference on this thing. Go to use 60. It's going to be awesome. And you're really just going to like this. I mean, it's just the perfect amount of ammunition for this gun. And last but definitely not least, we're actually going to go straight in here to the optic section. And I normally don't throw an optic on my Kilo, especially in multiplayer, but because you don't have a foregrip, we now have an option to use something different. And so that's where we're going to actually go ahead and add on the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. And I was like, wow, like this setup right here is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love it. And here's going to be the full attachment setup. This is going to be awesome. You guys should definitely go try this out. I was having an absolute blast using this, and I mean, it's just so fun. It looks so good anyways. It's a tracer. I mean, you really can't go wrong with this thing. Go ahead and try this out. Definitely my favorite setup on the Kilo right now. And last but definitely not least, we have to throw in here something that I really enjoy as well, the Ram 7, one of the fastest killing guns in the entirety of Modern Warfare, and a lot of people just don't use it because they can't control that recoil, you know what I'm saying? But let's go right in here to the muzzle attachment category. So we have the mono suppressor on here. Let's throw this bad boy on there. It's of course that beautiful blue as well, and they gave us some good attachments for this thing, so thank God they actually happened to do that. So let's throw that on there for our first attachment. Second, we're gonna go straight here into the barrel section, and we're just gonna see we have a few options here, but we're gonna only choose one of these for a specific reason. So we have the 13.5 compact, the Forged Sack Eclipse, and then we have the FSS Ranger. The FSS Ranger is what we're gonna go for because it's got that damage range, that bullet velocity, and that recoil control. The Eclipse barrel does not happen to have that recoil control, which is what we definitely really want. So we need to have on the Ranger barrel. It's just gonna be necessary. So I would highly suggest running the Ranger barrel. In the underbarrel section, we're gonna keep this very simple. We don't have to do too much with it. We don't gotta go crazy. We're gonna keep using the Commando foregrip on here just because it doesn't require that much recoil control. You know, when you have that barrel on there, I mean, you could definitely go down and use the Ranger foregrip. I use that in Warzone if I'm playing and I need to hit those longer range shots. But multiplayer, you're really not gonna come in, you know, into that type of distance where you really need to, you know, have the Ranger foregrip for it. So I don't find it to be super beneficial. But I'd recommend running the Commando foregrip here. It's just gonna be the best one for this thing. Unless you, of course, want to run the Ranger, then that's up to you. But you know, like I say, I like running the Commando. In the ammunition side of things, we can't really talk about this too much. I mean, there's literally only one magazine for this thing. Unfortunately, I'd really wish there'd be like a 60 round magazine for this as well. That'd be awesome. But unfortunately, they're not really gonna do that for us. So we're gonna use the 50 round magazine because that's literally the only option we have. And last, definitely not least, we're actually gonna go straight here to the rear grip section. We needed a bit more mobility out of this gun. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down here to the simple grip tape. This is gonna give us that aim down sight speed, that sprint to fire speed. This is a classic Ram 7 setup for you guys to be able to use in multiplayer just to dominate every game with. I can't tell you guys how many nukes I've dropped with this, how many 100+ kills I managed to drop, how many streaks I managed to get with the Ram 7. This thing is just so incredible. I love this gun. And this is going to conclude the last gun for my top 5 most overpowered class setups here in Modern Warfare. So that's all I got for you guys here then today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, slap a like on it, subscribe, those notifications turn on. Make sure you guys comment down in the comment section below. Go check out any of these other videos here up on screen, as I put a lot of time and effort into it. With that being said, I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow with a brand new video. Just remember to look out, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.